Remember when the internet went crazy when it was finally revealed that Fire Force was actually a prequel to Soul Eater? Well, I think that this very much could be the case for Black Clover. Many years ago, Tabata created a manga called Hungry Joker, a series that lasted only 24 chapters before it got the axe. Hungry Joker was a battle shonen that was a lot more sci-fi than fantasy, and it had a heavy basis in the laws of physics and scientific breakthroughs. I believe that it is fairly possible that Black Clover is actually a prequel to this Hungry Joker series, and I think that one of the major pieces of evidence for this has to do with Asta's innate attribute that will be officially revealed in the near future. I actually believe that it's already even been shown, it just wasn't named or mentioned. It was just foreshadowing for this ultimate reveal. Yeah, this theory is a double feature. Why Black Clover is a prequel series, and how Asta's magic will be the schism that leads into the Hungry Joker world. I think it will be best to start with explaining the many connections between Hungry Joker and Black Clover, and why these series might possibly be connected. Now, I will mention that I made a video nearly a year ago now, where I made the theory that it's actually Hungry Joker that is the prequel to Black Clover, not the other way around. But I really think it could be either way. Regardless, I believe that there is a lot of evidence that supports that Hungry Joker and Black Clover take place in the same universe and likely take place on the same planet, just at different times. Before getting into the evidence, I want to give a brief summary of what Hungry Joker is, so that you're not completely in the dark if you have not read it, but there will be Hungry Joker spoilers, so be warned for that. I'd suggest to read it before or after this video. It's only 24 chapters long, so you can easily read it in one night if you wish. Hungry Joker takes place in our modern world and follows a scientist named Haiji who is attempting to unravel the mystery of both his and the world's history and uncover the secrets of science. The power system of Hungry Joker relies on the Eureka. Eureka are the projection of the scientific concept that they represent. There are many different discoveries in the world, and many different objects are a part of these histories. When someone uses a Eureka, they gain the powers of that respective object. For example, one of the protagonists uses the Pythagorean hammer, and it gives him sound-based power. This power is based upon the power that was discovered in both the Hungry Joker world and our world. Many of the Eureka users are a part of an organization called the Jokers, or the White Jokers. There is also an evil organization called the Mavro. The Mavro are the devil equivalent in Hungry Joker. They are dark, twisted creatures with horns and tails that are far stronger than the regular human Eureka users. Eureka users are called adapters or geniuses. The Mavro wish to extinguish the geniuses and also the human race from the world, and then retain all of the different Eureka. Mavro actually literally translates to Army of Black Gods, which I believe further shows that the Mavro might be related to the Devils of Black Clover, but I'll get to that more later. The story essentially revolved around collecting the different Eurekas before the Mavro, and the current geniuses and the White Jokers are working to evolve their powers over the course of this short series. Now that I've gone over the brief summary, let's get into some of these pieces of evidence that puts Black Clover and Hungry Joker in the same world. One thing is that the symbol for gravity is the same in both Hungry Joker and Black Clover. In Black Clover, the gravity symbol is expressed through Lucifero's contracts with Dante and Morris as this stitched cross pattern. In Hungry Joker, this same symbol appears both on the Newtonian apple, but also Haiji, the main character of Hungry Joker, after you consume the apple. This symbol also grants him gravity powers as well. I understand this is only a loose connection, but it goes even further, as the Newtonian apple also exists in Black Clover, as it appears on a painting within the Black Bull's base. It is called the Newtonian apple because it was discovered by Newton, but keep in mind that it is the Newtonian apple that helped Newton discover gravity. The apple actually stems from the Tree of Life and predates Newton, allowing for it to exist within the timeline of both Black Clover and Hungry Joker. Now, what if I told you that a Black Clover character actually exists in Hungry Joker? Yeah, Gildre Poisat, the Bard Purple Orca's captain, is featured as a villain in the series. He was a part of what was going to be the main villain group before the series got axed. Now, the creator of both series, Yuki Tabata, was asked about this by a fan in a Black Clover Questions Brigade, and Tabata doesn't actually deny that that is Gildre. He actually just confirms that that is Gildre within Hungry Joker. And this sort of fits his character, that he would be a bad guy. If for some reason the Black Clover world regressed into our modern world that is magicless for the vast majority of the population, you know that he would weasel his way into the dark organization of the Mavro. Again, devils are known for their darker attributes, they're king for disrupting humanity, and they are also referred to as gods in Black Clover. Mavro can wield multiple Eureka at once and can contain their power to a far higher degree. I think that the Mavro and the devils are actually related, in that though the devils will be expunged at the end of Black Clover, they will live on as Mavro in the Hungry Joker world through many different possible means. There are even crazier occurrences in Hungry Joker. What if I told you that both Julius Novachrono and Lucius Sagratis are in Hungry Joker? One of the main protagonists, Chitosi, had her father experience a very mysterious death 6 years prior to the main events of the story. Her father looks like Lucius Sagratis, and 6 years prior to the start of Hungry Joker is the same time when Haiji had a major awakening and mystery in his life, which has led many to believe in the Hungry Joker fandom that Chitosi's father was actually the leader of the Mavro, and if he does look like Lucius, maybe he is Lucius, a Lucius who survived his confrontation with Asta at the end of Black Clover. Which, yeah, that could imply that Lucius somehow survives the end of Black Clover. Furthermore, Julius is shown to be working with the White Jokers, which is an interesting parallel to their counterparts in Black Clover, as Julius worked for the Clover Kingdom Magic Knights, the good guys, and Lucius is the bad guy. Witches exist in both Hungry Joker and Black Clover, as Neil's grandmother is a witch who not only has a Eureka that grants her power, but there are many more connections between the series, like magical attributes from both series looking identical. For example, Noct in Hungry Joker has spatial magic, and its properties look just like Xenon's spatial magic. Someone with a zombie power in Hungry Joker creates zombies that have nearly identical effect to the zombies of Black Clover. Even the symbol of the Mendelian peas in Hungry Joker appear in Black Clover as Megicula's symbol. Japan actually exists in both Hungry Joker and Black Clover. The Land of the Sun in Black Clover is obviously Japan. It features the same exact landmass geography, holds an identical name, fields similar naming conventions and customs, similar outfits and styles, and even uses the same exact kanji as well. Also, the Tree of Life exists both in Black Clover and Hungry Joker, which adds another similarity. I think I've gone through the lengths to show that there is a lot of evidence to suggest that Black Clover and Hungry Joker take place on the same planet, just at different times. There are a few issues that you could argue that negate the theory. For example, Black Clover is a world based on magic, and magic hardly exists in Hungry Joker. They are limited to the Eurekas. Also, the geography of the Black Clover world is considerably different than the Hungry Joker one. But I believe that there are explanations for these, and they are present in the story, and it has to do with some of the major themes and goals of characters in both the narratives. Remember that Lumiere wanted to pair science with the magic items of the elves to create a world where everyone is equal. It failed. And Lucius's goal is to be in control of all magic in the world, so that everyone is equal to each other. This is a fool's errand. Asta may see that a similar but ultimately different goal will lead to an actual fruitful outcome. Instead of making everyone equal by equating magic power, Asta could make everyone equal by destroying all magic power. That's right. I think that Black Clover could very well end with Asta's own attempt at creating an equal society by destroying all magic. Anti-magic, which negates or nullifies magic, could be a perfect scenario for Asta to attempt to create this perfect society. I believe that it would actually beautifully parallel both Lumiere and Lucius, and hell, it might not even be Asta's choice. Remember, it was confirmed that Lucius's goal was to take control over all magic on the Black Clover planet. If Lucius does take control of the entire world, and Asta defeats him with anti-magic, then it may lead to the death of nearly all magic in the world, which would explain why there is almost no magic in Hungry Joker, considering they are likely the same universe. And of course, the key word there is almost. Technically, not all magic would be wiped out in Hungry Joker, and this leads me to explaining what Eurekas may be. I think Eureka are just magic items from Black Clover. They pretty much nearly fit the description of what magic items are, items that when wielded or activated grant enhanced magical abilities. To put it simply, if Eureka were in the Black Clover world, they would be referred to as magic items, and vice versa. If magic items were in the Hungry Joker world, they would likely be referred to as Eureka. What I think happened is that Eureka were created by the last surviving mages of the Black Clover world. Humanity could one day regain their magical powers, and this time produce an even better society. And there's actually a lot of evidence that Eureka may just be magic items meant for humanity to find their way once more. As when someone uses the power of Eureka, it is not just like a science, it actually works more like a magical force. As the more one uses or consumes their Eureka, the more energy of it they absorb, and the more powerful they become. Furthermore, Eureka give off a mysterious energy field that allows them to be detected. And Eureka users give off this glow, which is of course similar to the glow of one's magical aura of mana in Black Clover. Geniuses can even use these pills that actually lead for humanity to have infinite possibilities, and seem to be a pathway for how Eurekas could evolve back into magic or mana. As I said, the more people consume their Eureka, the more power they have, and geniuses have mutations that allow them to use Eureka powers, and if you pair this with these pills, it's likely that the Eureka powers would just pass on to their next generation, which would then bring back magic power into the world of Black Clover and Hungry Joker. Now I want to move on to the next portion of this theory, and that is that Asta is awakening his own innate magical attribute, as I believe it actually bridges the gap between these two theories. A lot of people say that Black Clover can't take place on the same world as Hungry Joker because the geography is different. As mentioned earlier, when it comes to the geography, the only similarities that we know of is that Japan exists in both worlds. Besides that, there is geography in Black Clover that would contradict the worlds being the same, and this is where Asta's own magical ability comes into play. I believe that it's already been shown to us, but it just kind of went over people's heads. But first, I want to talk about this as a possibility, because many think it's impossible that Asta could have a magic type at all, but it really shouldn't be if we go by all the evidence we know of for why Asta has no magic. It hasn't been blatantly explained or stated to us, but Tabata has given us far more than enough information to determine why he was born magicless. His mother, Lucita, has a weird condition, likely a curse, that causes her to steal the magic of those around her. This acts as both the simplest explanation for why Asta has no magic, but it's also the claim with by far the most support. Occam's razor applies perfectly to this scenario. Is it possible that it isn't why Asta has no magic? Yeah, it's possible, but it's still the most probable explanation. Especially since Lucita actually says that Asta was born healthy. This would mean that he would have been born with a magic power and magic, as that is what it would mean to be born healthy in the Black Clover world. So we know for a fact that Asta likely had mana and a magical attribute, but Asta was never able to use his magical attribute because he had his mana stolen. And this leads to the several times where Asta actually used his innate magical ability, and I'll show you what it was. But first, I will remind you that magical attributes are hereditary. This means that Asta should have a magical attribute that is related to at least one of his parents. We know the attribute of at least one of his parents, that is Lucita. She can store physical objects into other physical objects. It's a form of sealing, or the ability to manipulate physical objects. This would mean that there is a statistical likelihood that Asta's innate magical attribute would have something to do with the physical manipulation of anything. We've seen Asta do this blatantly on at least 3 occasions. First, with the Demon Destroyer sword. We've seen pretty clearly a crossed-shaped crossguard with an African-style executioner's blade. But what happens when Asta is in Devil Union and he uses it? He completely alters the shape of the sword. The physical matter at the center of the crossguard forms into the shape of a ring with sharp points that rim the circle. This is entirely different from Asta's Black Divider, where we can easily see that the sword doesn't actually get bigger itself. The anti-magic just forms around the blade and extends it, acting as a sharp edge. These are different. The physical makeup of the sword is actually different and now has a gap at the middle of it. Considering that physical structures are a minor form of weakness to anti-magic, I find it odd that it would be the anti-magic energy reshaping the blade, and rather would be Asta's own magical ability that has been awakened. But I'll go into that after showing the other sword transformations. The next one he changed was the Demon Slayer sword when he reflected Nautilus' freezing sun. Now we know this isn't a simple Black Divider, but far stronger. But also we see that both the hilt and crossguard of the Demon Slayer sword also grow bigger. Keep in mind that in every instance where Asta has used Black Divider, the size of the hilt and crossguard always remain the same. Not here, which implies he was again changing the physical makeup of the Demon Slayer sword. Finally, Asta would reshape the Demon Dweller sword as well, as he would actually enhance the hilt around it so that it would form horns, but not only that, he would increase the practicality of the blade's hilt guard. Or, he would actually create one because it didn't have one before. Yeah, this little piece right here, it did not exist on the Demon Dweller before Asta added it with his own magic power. This is not a one-off thing. Asta has constantly reshaped these swords over the course of the series ever since he used Devil Union. So, what gives? Well, I believe this is a factor of Asta's magic power. I just believe that instead of using mana to use his ability, he is using anti-energy. Almost think like if Asta was supposed to have fire magic, instead of having fire magic, he would have anti-magic fire in this scenario. Anti-energy is what the data book actually calls the energy for anti-magic, and we've known that anti-magic is an energy for a while, and Gaja made his own assumption of anti-magic, stating that it was a similar form of energy to mana. Now you might say, but this is anti-magic, why would he be able to use his magic power with anti-magic? But this could actually be considered very consistent within the power systems of the verse. We've actually seen at least 2 different energy systems used to empower magical attributes, with a possibility of it being 3. Of course, nearly everyone in the verse uses the energy source of mana to create magical spells. But there's another kind of mana called negative mana, While it is very similar, it is technically different and instead hails from the underworld rather than the living world. Characters can use negative mana to use their magical attributes, and while it is similar to regular mana, it is still technically different. The third possible energy source is devil power. Now there's debate amongst the fandom on whether or not devil power is actually different from negative mana, or if they are just the same. There's evidence for both sides, but still, that's either 2 or 3 different kinds of energy that can actually power magical attributes in Black Clover. And if we look at it, anti-magic is one, not only devil power, but it is also very similar to both negative mana and mana. Remember, God just states that anti-magic is similar to mana, so anti-magic is very similar to 3 different power systems that can all actually use magical attributes and make them work. So there really is no reason as to why Asta awakening his own innate ability and powering it with anti-magic would be impossible. Remember, I'm not saying that Asta can use mana, I'm saying he's using his ability with anti-energy, and that shouldn't be that crazy, as we've seen that forbidden magic can mess with the natural order of the world, and it made it so that magic could work on Liebe, the anti-magic devil. And this leads into my point on why I think Asta could finally use his power with Union, but he could not use it before that, as we've only seen Asta shaping things while using Devil Union. This is because we know that when a human and a devil fuse within their union, the human is able to easily combine their own ability with the characteristic of their devil. Guimodello's characteristic is to create clones. Nox is to create shadows. Together, they make shadow clones. Asta's ability is to manipulate physical objects. Let's call it shaping for now. Liebe's characteristic is to negate magic. Asta uses that energy to enhance the swords and shape them physically. Asta could not use his own ability of shaping with the regular usage of anti-magic because he only had access to it via a third party. He was only taking the energy from the sword. The anti-magic technically was not his energy. But in Devil Union, him and Liebe actually fused to literally become a single being. In this form, the anti-magic is literally his own energy, which is why he can now use his shaping. And it is Asta's shaping ability that will allow me and him to bridge these 2 theories together. After Lucius takes control of all magic in the Black Clover world, Asta will produce his most powerful anti-magic slash. Let's say he uses his shaping ability to fuse all of his 4 swords together, activates anti-mana zone, and does a Zetan Infinity/Equinox. Asta is successful in stopping Lucius at the cost of erasing all magic in the world, but also his shaping ability reshapes the world everywhere, but for the land of the sun, as it remains just like Japan. But now the geography of Black Clover matches that of Hungry Joker. This could be a good end to Black Clover because Asta will have achieved his goal of making it so that everybody was equal to the other. And it could be that humanity went for decades, if not centuries, as a peaceful and prosperous civilization until the devils returned as Mavro in order to take the magic back by stealing the Eurekas. Then I think that Tabata could either make another series that picks up where Hungry Joker left off, and have Haiji and the White Jokers invading the Mavro facility. Or, what I think would be even smarter, would be for Tabata just to make a brand new series that takes place sometime after Haiji's raid on the Mavro, and that raid failed. A war-torn world where the Mavro and the White Jokers wage endless wars, and a new main character who stumbles upon an interesting Eureka and goes on a quest to defeat the Mavro and bring back magic to humanity. So yeah guys, I think it's very possible that either Hungry Joker is a sequel or a prequel to Black Clover. I did a video almost a year ago of talking about why Hungry Joker is a prequel, but I think it's actually possible that it's also a sequel to Black Clover and it takes place after. So yeah, there's a lot of evidence that shows that Black Clover and Hungry Joker take place in the same planet. The only real difference was like, okay, well what happened to the geography? And I think that Asta's secret ability of shaping things kind of just makes it perfect, especially because we know that Lucius, his actual area of effect in terms of his magic spread, it's going to cover the world because he wants to steal all the magic from the world. So that means that Asta will be able to match that range and he'll have anti-magic spreading the world, destroying it, but also his shaping ability, shaping the world into our world, into the Hungry Joker world. Let me know what you thought about this theory down below. Do you want this theory to be true? Do you want there to be a Hungry Joker sequel or continuation based on Black Clover connecting the 2 together, similar to Fire Force and Soul Eater being connected? With that being said, that's it for the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Peace out.